Hello to all our lovely subscribers. Welcome to another Patreon show with the two of us, knobheads. I've just been saying to Robbo, this is a common theme in my life as well. I'm doing that thing where I've got a hard deadline today to pick up the kids from school and then take them to my mum's. And I already know I don't have enough time between now and then to do everything I need to do. So this is a common occurrence in my life. I have a list of things to do, and rather than get them all done, I slowly just change that list. Do you ever do that? Like
Yeah, all the
Siobhan
time.
often says to me, like I'm coming up to 2 years being with Siobhan now, and she just laughed the other day and she went to me, it's still funny your perception of time. And I went to why? She went, you're forever like a time optimist. Like it's like you'll think you can do 10 things in 5 hours and you'll get through two of them. And then you'll say to me later, everything takes longer than you think. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
everything does
yeah.
take longer than you think. So but it's like my brain, I'm still really struggling to teach my brain that to just go, we'll just do one thing, just put one thing on your list today. It's like, no, we'll get through all of that.
I think I mentioned on before. I'm reading a book, or on and off reading a book. I'm good at that. Called Indistractable, and
Mm.
like one of the key, it's various stuff about sort of trying to sort of get your life on track and not spending too much time on your phone and all that kind of stuff, things like that. But one of the things that I really liked on it, which maybe you could have a go over here, mate, sounds like, is rather than you make the list, like I've got a list here myself and I've done the same thing. I've just put Friday and got a long list. But what Indistractable recommends you do, and I've had a go at it, and it does work, or I found it worked, is literally like, so say the day before when you make the list for today, don't just make a list. Get your phone like and look at your day, like your calendar if you like, or do it on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be on your phone. And literally put like 9 till 10 invoices, like, and then be realistic, do you know what I mean? And put like, put 10 till half 10, have a brew and watch Sky Sport. Like put bits in like that you do anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know what I mean? And but have it like set it to it like comes up. Do you know what I mean? So like I don't know, say you had a meeting or something, you might set an alert to come up, mightn't you? So do that, but only do that for your to-do list. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm.
like you can literally see in your mind's going, oh, okay. So I've got an hour to do this then. Go. And like the other thing I think is really good as well, again, I think I mentioned it before, just repeating myself on here, but Sauls, is just putting your phone into like focus or sleep, because just things pinging like anything, email, any other notifications you might have set up, you just lose your focus then. And that I think, I mean, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone else or even you, but I know that's a problem for me, because I'll do that thing all the time where like I've started something, then I get distracted, then I'll make a brew, then and before you know it, like you're saying, your time's gone, you're chasing your tail, you start doing your head in that you've done that to yourself, and you're on like a bit of a mad cycle. But yeah, but I'm doing none of that at the minute anyway, so lecture over. But I mean, in theory, it's a good theory.
Yeah, well, it's a good theory, but I think it also, the way it falls down for me is the fundamental problem in my brain is I do that and I put an hour in for something that will take me three.
Yeah, not be
Do you know what I mean?
realistic. Like,
I
yeah,
think I've
yeah, yeah.
mentioned on this before. Like it was a very common trait of partners in law firms when giving junior people work to do. They'd be like that, and as I grew with confidence being a lawyer, I'd say to the partners, like laughing, like just in the way you gave me that task, how long do you reckon it'll take me to do? And they'd be like 15 minutes. And you're like, nah, it's a 2 hour job that. And they're like, nah. And I know it was such a common thing in junior lawyers. Be like, fucking hell, these partners think these jobs are like just do something that we see it with this stuff, don't we? Like, oh yeah, just come up with an agenda, and you're like, that's not how it works. Like a lot of the time, I mean, obviously sometimes it is, but that's the bit I'm awful at. Like, it's just I just don't. Sometimes when if I stop and slow down and go to myself, be realistic. How long is that going to take you? I'd go like, yeah, that's an all day job. That, but I think that's the bit I find hardest to do is just admit that, because I think where it comes from is giving myself like a therapy session here. It's like anxiety of the stuff you've got to get through. Because if I admit to myself yesterday that today already isn't enough time to do everything I want to do, I'm already kicking things into next week. So it's like I'm kidding myself. Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't help.
Yeah, it's the old internal monologue doing your own head in as well. That's something that I don't even know what the solution is on that, but that my one of them does my head in. Do you know what I mean? But I am assured that everyone has one, and that it's not just me, and I'm not going crazy, so that's good. But I do have a thing like, you should have done this, you should have done that. Why aren't you doing this? When's the last time you went to the gym, you fat twat? Whatever. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't change anything, but it's like, I live on my own, and it's like I've got someone living with me, nagging me, but it's me. It's weird, isn't it?
Well, without turning it into a coaching session, that's literally the work, loads of work I've done in the past few years, is changing that voice. Because it is, you are, and without getting too deep, because we're going to talk about the stuff that's less deep. Those voices are the voices you've got brought up with. So when you boil down, it's like, who is it? Like my dad gets mentioned a lot in this stuff, but like he passed away last year, right? My dad haunts me basically. I've had to do loads of work on, like, I literally talk to him, to his voice, call him Eric. I'm like, all right, Eric, thanks for your input. Not interested today. So you're not even here, so fuck off. Leave me alone. I'm just all right with who I am. Thanks very much. But that is deep. So to go to what we actually started to talk about before we started recording, because I just thought, fuck it. Like I went to watch a movie last night. I mentioned it to Robbo in messages before I went, and then he just asked me before we started recording, what was it like? So we're gonna talk about it a little bit, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I don't want to spoil it for Robbo. So I've given him free permission to like pull the plug on this conversation at any time.
Because I haven't seen it, and I want to.
Because you haven't seen it, yeah. And well, I've got to say what it is, haven't I? It's a new Scorsese movie. Because traditionally I'm a huge Scorsese fan. Like growing up, loved his movies, and before we went to see it, I said to Siobhan, because we're very similar, and like as I looked it up, it's a 3.5 hour movie. And as soon as I saw that, the first thing I thought was, there's no need. Like, why have all these? It seems to be a new thing now, doesn't it? Like when the big film directors are making movies, it's like they've gone, fuck off the whole idea of a movie being 2 hours long. They'll always be 3.5 hours. And that's a long time to go and sit somewhere. Like, even when I looked it up on the internet, one of the questions people had asked you, when you see all the questions people have asked, and it said, like, is there an intermission? And the answer was, well, no, they don't do intermissions at the pictures.
They don't do them anymore, do they?
But
he used to, didn't he? He used to have that woman with the ice cream and all that.
Yeah, but I said, for a 3.5 hour movie, if I owned a cinema, I'd have an intermission, wouldn't you? Because then everyone gets to go to the toilet without missing any of the movie. Most people can't go. This is fucking middle-aged shit now, isn't it? But loads of middle-aged people, especially, can't go, and older, can't go 3.5 hours without going for a piss. So you're gonna miss some of the movie, and you don't know which bit you're gonna miss. It could be something really important. You can't come back and start asking your partner what you've missed because you're disturbing everyone else. And so if I owned a cinemas, I would be like, let's throw an intermission in, let everyone go for a piss, and you've got an opportunity to sell them more of your ridiculously priced food, which they'll probably get because they're there for a whole night.
I didn't know it was 3.5 hours, I've got to be honest. So now I'm slightly put off because although I do like him and like his stuff, and when I seen the trailer to this film, because what's it called? We haven't even said what it's called.
Oh, I had this
Flowers,
with me niece the
moon,
no, it's that. So basically, if you say flowers, killing, and moon in any combination, you'll get tickets. I think it's called. I was about to say it then, and as soon as I said it, my brain went, no, it's the other way around. Killing of the flower moon.
Killers of the flower moon.
Killers of the flower moon. There you go.
I said to me, it last night, lad, and you can't remember it,
mate. I said to my niece the other day, I went, "Oh, we're going to see that Flowers of the Killing Moon the other," and she was like, "Flowers of the Killing Moon." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's not what it's called." I was like, "Isn't it?" She's like, "No."
Sounds like an Echo and the Bunnymen album or something.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, is that what it's called? Yeah.
Well, because the other one, that's him as well, isn't it? The Irishman.
Yeah. So have you seen that?
No, because I saw how long it was, and I've just never thought I've got that long in my life to sit on my couch and watch it.
So I watched The Irishman in 3 installments, but I watched it at home.
I really want to watch it still to this day, but like I heard like varying report. What really put me off on that is not again, like, you know, there's boss actors in it, isn't there, and all that, and like even the premise of it, I think, oh, I like films like that. But then someone told me like that the AI fight thing in it is shit, and that really put me off. I thought, well, if that's shit, I'm just going to be sitting there waiting for it to come up, and when it comes up, I'm going to go, that's shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's tainted me. I haven't even seen it, but it's tainted my idea of it. So like I've got to give up 3.5 hours, and during the 3.5 hours, I know there's going to be a bit where there's AI on De Niro, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a bit shit, and I'm
Well,
like,
that's the way I did it. I think that's the way I'd recommend doing it at home. Like, treat it like a 3-part series that you're going to watch. Do you know what I mean? And watch an
yeah,
hour each night during the week, because otherwise it is dead long. But that movie, as I was sitting, and it's mad this, because I'm sitting watching a movie in the pictures, and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, like it was good. And when I left, and I said to Siobhan, "What did you think?" She really liked it, and I was surprised. I didn't think she would, and she liked it more than I did. And she made a good point, which I hadn't thought of, which was I wasn't sitting there thinking, "Fucking hell, this is taking ages." Like 3.5. I wasn't getting impatient, because I just enjoyed. There's certain movies I just enjoy watching certain actors, so they can be in a
have you
shit
watched
movie.
have you watched Oppenheimer?
No, but that's another one that's in my right. So
Because
as I was sitting
that's
watching
three
it,
hours.
so
That's
I
three
was
hours,
thinking
and I
of
liked it.
so big three of the big directors I really like: Scorsese, Chris Nolan's probably my favorite, and Tarantino. And I was sitting watching this movie thinking, I've got a summary of all of those three now. And Oppenheimer, I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, because I wanted to watch it on the pictures, and different things were going on and we never got round to it. I wanted to watch it on IMAX. But then, similar thing that you've had, everyone I knew who went to watch it, the critics all said it was brilliant, but
I thought it
everyone
was
I
brilliant.
knew went to watch it said it wasn't. Oh, you're the first person who said it was
I
brilliant.
loved it.
Oh, really?
The only negative I've got about it is, you know, I felt like, you know, the build up, the build up was relevant, but the build up for me like could have been shorter. But that's all. I
The
thought
build
it
up
was
in the
brilliant.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you know, the history before you get to, we all know what he does. Do you know what I mean? We all know what the film's about, don't we?
Yeah.
It's not a spoiler to say that. But yeah, just the sort of like the build up, as in, you know, the detailing his life and how he got to where he got to, and, you know, blah blah blah. I just thought that went on. That could have been shortened. You know, Barry Norman here, like, but
I thought that funny, mate. I was literally thinking of calling this section of the show Barry Norman film reviews, just for our target market.
I remember once me and Johnny, my best mate, went to on a way. It could have been Cardiff. Anyway, it doesn't really matter where it was. And we're on a coach coming back. It was like, you know, it was a long trip. Like, we're on a coach coming back, and you know, going through these like country roads or whatever. And obviously, like, you know, you're on a 5-hour journey or whatever, everyone gets bored, and, you know, they're doing different things to sort of pass the time. And there was these people behind us, and didn't know them, like, or anything. They were just on the coach, Reds, like. But one of them, like, one fella, just was going through, like, virtually, like, every film he'd seen in the last year, and giving, like, his mate a bit of a critique on it. And, like, I sort of was, I could see that Johnny had got onto it as well as me. And I'm like, I never said that. And then I just went, doom, 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 doom. And then I was like, Barry Norman there,
Did he
fucking
get
hell.
onto it?
Yeah, he was buzzing off, and he was straight onto it. Like, but it's funny, isn't it? Like, I mean, you know, loads of other people hosted that, didn't he? But everyone always still, well, everyone our age, I think, always still says Barry Norman.
Yeah.
I put it in our group all the time with my mates, like, so, because, you know, another middle age thing is we talk about films and telly and series and all that a lot, because, you know, it's a big pastime for you at this age, or a lot of us. And one of my mates is always so up to speed with it. He's got a physical job. He's like you know, a gardener, and he's always like goosed at the end of the day. You'd seen his steps once. Like, he just must have decided to do his steps, you know, step count type thing, and they were like 50,000 for a
Yeah.
day. And I was like, whoa, heavy. So he's always goosed at the end of the day, and you know, so his chill out is watching the telly. So he's always watched low. You know, if you want a recommendation, he's always seen something worth watching, and he's really good at saying, "Have you seen Have you seen Slow Horses? Have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you seen the other?" But sometimes he'll put like big reviews in and all that of what he thought or something, and I'll always just put a little Barry Norman picture in the WhatsApp group like straight after. And everyone just buzzes up. Nothing else needed to be said. You know,
Yeah.
everyone gets it. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, back to Oppenheimer. I thought it was really, really good. I enjoyed it, and like once it got going past the scene setting, if you like, yeah, really good.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So I'm gutted I missed it on IMAX now because I love Chris Nolan movies, but it's because the last Chris Nolan movie I'd seen, the last Tarantino movie I'd seen, and the last Scorsese movie I'd seen, had all started doing the same thing. And then as I was sitting watching this one last night, I was thinking the same thing, which is I've got this theory on people, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who's ever thought of this. I might have even said it to you in the past on or off a show. I think it's inevitable that when you get really good at something, it's like natural in human nature to become a parody of yourself because you get inside your own head. Do you know what I mean? When Scorsese makes his first great movie, he's just thinking, how do I make this movie the best I can make it? But by the time he's Oscar-winning Martin Scorsese, by the time Chris Nolan is Chris Nolan and Tarantino is Tarantino, when they come to do a movie, there's a part of their brain going, how do I make an amazing Tarantino movie? That's what's going through Tarantino's head without him knowing it. Do you know what I mean? So you end up in this like, there's loads of different like cliches in this. Like I think there's an element of Emperor's New Clothes in it. And the example I gave to Siobhan on the way home was, have you ever heard Noel Gallagher tell a story about their albums? Like they released Definitely Maybe, and obviously everyone like, oh my God, who's this new band with this rock and roll album? It's amazing. And then when they brought out the What's the Story, Morning Glory, because the critics were all expecting another rock and roll album, the critics actually panned, loads of the critics panned What's the Story, Morning Glory, because they said this rock and roll band's gone soft type thing. And then What's the Story became one of the biggest selling albums of all time. Like sold like over 20 million copies. I don't know what it's up to now, but this is Noel Gallagher telling the story. He said, so by the time they released Be Here Now, their third album, they'd had two fucking huge albums. They were massive. He said every critic pretty much said Be Here Now was a masterpiece because they were so
thought
afraid.
It was shit, didn't they?
Well, this is it. The critics were so afraid of saying it was shit because they'd got it so badly wrong with What's the Story that they said it was great. And he said, I even was like, and he said, I always go off what the fans think. The fans will tell you whether your stuff's good or not. Because Be Here Now sold millions of copies, but it was nowhere near What's the Story. And I think there's an element of this going on. Like, I think certain of these directors, they put themselves into a place where there's an Emperor's New Clothes thing going on. No one wants to say to them, it's a bit long that though, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like even you saying about Oppenheimer, like I remember Neil Atkinson saying this to me once about Harry Potter or something like that. Like, the later books, they actually could be shorter. Someone could have gone to them. Do you know what though? You don't need that bit. And that was my theory watching that movie last night. I reckon the original Martin Scorsese would have taken that movie and turned it from 3.5 hours into 2 hours. And you'd have left going, oh my God, that was fucking unbelievable. But instead, and think about this, there's loads in this. We were chatting about this on the way home. It was interesting. Martin Scorsese now is what? How long ago did he make Goodfellas? It's like 40 years. Like he's an old fella now.
Yeah.
So when he's making a movie, he's 40 years older than when he made this fucking aggressive. He's a different fella. He's more slow paced. He's making a movie that he's like, yeah, it's nice. I left the movie going, it was nice. It was nice to just sit there for 3.5 hours and watch that. But I didn't leave going, fucking hell, it blew me away. And that's the feeling I sort of get with all of these fellas now. It's like,
Did you like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood though?
I liked it.
Because that was 240, wasn't it? Like that was that was cracking on for 3 hours. Like,
yeah,
I thought that was good.
I liked it better the second time I watched it.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was, it was Tarantino, the characters and all that. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it was him. It was recognizable as one of his films, because that got like loads of random stick, didn't it? And there was all this like,
Well, his movies get that, don't they, for like, racism or misogyny or sexism,
yeah.
And he's always forced to defend himself against something.
Used to be violent, didn't it? Obviously, but at first and all that.
Because the big one in that was Margot Robbie didn't have enough lines, wasn't it? That was one of the things, and I was like, I reckon Margot Robbie's like big enough to look after herself. In fairness, probably, but without getting into a minefield. But that even that one, but something else that occurred to me, even that one, and again this occurred to me last night about us getting older. Like, I'm referencing them, and Siobhan took the piss out of me last night on the Barry Norman thing. She's like, all right, fucking Mr. Sinner, like, we know better than Martin Scorsese do. And I was like, yeah, it's funny that. But like, think about it. When I saw, because I was about to say to you, yeah, but I liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but it was nowhere near as good as Pulp Fiction. But that's the other thing about getting older, isn't it? When I saw Pulp Fiction, it blew me away because I'd never seen a movie like Pulp Fiction. Yeah. When I saw Goodfellas, it blew me away because I was younger. That was the best movie I'd ever seen. But what was I fucking comparing it to? Cinderella. Like, what was the best movie I'd seen before Goodfellas? Whereas by the time you're 43 and you go to see a movie, I'm comparing it against, it's like when we're doing footy, when like I'm criticising Virgil van Dijk, and we said this on a footy show earlier in the week, I'm criticising him based against his bar of being the fucking greatest defender of all time, arguably. So I'm criticising Scorsese or Tarantino or Chris Nolan against the bar of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, yeah, it's not quite, and even I feel like a bit of a spoiled knobhead when I'm doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not quite as good as the greatest movie I've ever seen.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I appreciate it when I go to pictures now. I don't know why. I think it's maybe just because like proliferation of stuff at your fingertips. Like, you can watch a film every night if you wanted easily, couldn't you? So I like, to me, if I go to the pictures, I think it's got to be really bad for me to, regard it as bad, if you know what I mean, because I'm like enjoying the experience of just going to the pictures. Do you know what I mean? Like, I went and watched recently, like the latest like Equalizer film, and I thought it was boss. I really enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? And like, I loved going to. I saw the kids. The last one I saw with the kids was the last in the series of the John Wick films. And it's been a thing that me and the kids watch all them.
Nice.
And look, they're daft. And like, how can one fella kill that many people and no one can have him off? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so what? Like, I mean, when I was a kid and I read like Adventures in, what's the book called? Something like Adventures in a Wishing Chair or something. Ian Blyton, anyway. I used to read all the Ian Blyton stuff as a young kid and love it. The fucking stories aren't real, are they? They're not approaching real. Like, what, you sit in a rocking chair and you go to another world. Oh, Sam, or lie. You go in a wardrobe and you're in another fucking Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe. I loved all of them books, but they are not. They're nowhere near reality, are they? You read them as an escape.
I'm laughing because I'm just picturing a young Robbo going to his dad or his mum as they're reading you the story, going, fuck off. That's no way that's real. What do you mean? They walked through a wardrobe and went to a different world. Fuck off.
100%. Now, I was a bit like that. I mean, like, I think obviously the skill of that type of stuff is, an element of reality. Like, another one of my favourites when I was little was George's Marvelous Medicine. Because, and like, I just, I loved like the sort of like cantankerous Nan, I think it is, in that. And that's like something you can relate to as a little kid, I think, because, like, so when you're a little kid, you don't understand why old people are cynical. You do when you're old, obviously. But you know what I mean? So, like, to sort of get that across in a story, the characters, if you like, in the story are the key to it being realistic, if you like. Yeah, I used to read tons, like, when I was little, like, and I still say, I mean, this isn't like a mad theory or particularly groundbreaking, but like, I've always, and so has Kelly, always encouraged, our kids to read. And like they're both doing well in school now, and you know, my lad's doing his mock soon, and you know, it's approaching the end of senior school, and like they're both really clever. They're both done well. They both still read loads now. It's like in their lives, which I'm made up about because I was hearing something yesterday about sort of, oh, it was Darren Bent was talking about like his lad and just saying like, you know, it's a constant fight to get him off like mobile phones, iPads, and all this. And like, you know, his dad's being a professional footballer and had a career out of it, and you can't get him to go out in the back and kick a ball. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, the fact that they're dead into reading, you know, I'm made up about. And even like little Ollie, he's you know, he's not reading. He's only 2.5, like, but he understands the concept of it. And like, you know, he'll bring you a book, jump next to it on the couch and hand you it, and like sit there and listen. So he's got like a level of concentration around it. And he doesn't, you know, he does want to watch Peppa Pig on the mobile phone, don't get me wrong, but he'll do the book thing. And so like I'm hoping, you know, that's the path again. You know, I'm hoping to get him into a reading habit and get him, you know, to the same place again. What's mad about this, to bring this back in a weird way, almost in a Billy Connolly-esque way, is what we started the show with, talking about how you do your editing, your own editing. One of the ways I do my own editing now, 47 years old, is not reading enough and not doing what I literally said. You know, why don't I put it in my diary? Like, read from this time to this time. Because the mad thing is, when I do, I still love it, but then I just don't. Do you know what I mean? So like, I've got
100%.
like over here, there's a book that I started the other week, and it's just like there, you know, by the couch. Anytime I sit down there with a brew, I can start reading it, and I always don't, because I end up picking up my phone. But when I did and I got into it, it was good and I enjoyed it. And it's like, again, that's another one for the monologue, where it's going, well, what are you doing, lad? You like reading? Reading's good. Go and read. No, I'll think of something else, Tar.
Yeah,
It's like
but
this, you know, it's like little battle going on all the time.
Yeah, but in fairness, and I've seen this in so many places over the recent years, and like, it's true. And I think it's important to acknowledge this, so you don't beat yourself up too much, and you realize how hard a battle it is. Like, even when you said about the little lad there, Ollie, like, if you get him into reading the way you got your other two, that'll be such a much bigger accomplishment, given how the world has changed. Because what we're up against now, from a like concentration perspective, is a multi-billion-dollar industry designed to like tap into our neural pathways and make us pick up our phone.
Yeah,
that's what it's literally designed to do. Like, the psychology of it, they've got, you know, the best people in the fucking world, like, designing all of this stuff to make us want to pick up the phone instead of the book. And at the end of the day, the book doesn't have any of those things. It doesn't have all of the red fucking notifications and the dopamine hits and the sounds and it hasn't got that. So I remember someone saying that ages ago. Like, that's the problem with trying to get your lad out into even if you're an ex-footballer, to get your lad to go into the back garden and just kick a ball. They're like, well, why? I can play FIFA on the fucking Xbox. It's well better.
Yeah.
And because me kicking a ball, like, I'm shit. Like, I'm shit at kicking a ball. So that's not as much fun as being Ronaldo for Real Madrid on FIFA. And you're like, there's a sadness to that, isn't there? Like,
yeah,
because actually
100%.
it is more fun doing it yourself, even if you're not as good as them, because there's just more stuff going on. Like, it's more enjoyable. But I have it even, it's funny you say about reading books, because I'm the same. I very rarely sit and read a book, because it means me sitting down and making the time for it. Whereas if I get an audio book, I'll listen to it while I'm doing other stuff. But that in itself, like, in an ideal world, I would make time to sit and read. But there's always something else. If I'm looking at go back to the beginning of the conversation. If I've got a list of 10 things to do today, and in my diary, there's an hour blocked out for sitting down and reading, that's the first thing that's going to get fucking jibbed, isn't it? When
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I've got this other stuff to do.
But then you could easily put it at the end of your day, couldn't you? You could say, like, you know, when I go to bed, well, I'll go to bed earlier and I'll read it and it'll be part of my routine to go to bed. That's what I always think. Because again, I like reading in bed, and I think, you know, it's a good way to nod off, and you're not looking at a screen, and you're not getting they always say, don't need the blue light and all that kind of gear.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't do it. I still don't do it. I mean, that fella, that Indistractable book, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, I referenced it. I heard a podcast with him first, and then I bought the book off the strength of what he was saying on the podcast. But some of the stuff he was coming out with was like wild, do you know what I mean? So like the general, the general idea I like, and I like the idea of, putting slots in and sort of almost like regimenting yourself, because I think we all need routine. Like, that's one of the problems for me at the moment, big time. Like this week, monologue is off the scale because I've been going to bed at mad times, getting up at mad times, because there's nothing to, that sounds dramatic, but you know what I mean? There's nothing to get up for, really. Do you know what I mean? There's no, I don't have to go to an office and be there at 9 o'clock or whatever. So I'm just sort of like meandering along, but that's not good. You know what I mean? Like I would rather I did have a routine. I don't even know where I'm going with this now. I don't know what I was going to come back to and say. Oh, I know what it was. So his when he was doing it on the show, on the podcast, I think it was that, what's he called? The one who waffles for hours. Stephen Thingale.
Bartlett.
Yeah, he was on there. He was on there. But he was going on about like scheduling a shag and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
and I
you
thought,
mentioned this to me. Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bit much, isn't it? Like, ping, come on, love.
Yeah. Well,
shag time.
I have this problem, mate. I have this problem with loads of the like self-help world, and like it's sort of I like in when I'm coaching people is be realistic. Like, make this work in real life. Let's stop being knobheads about stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so easy. She would always tell me what something she'd been watching the other day, and it was someone talking about parenting, and they were talking about like something to do with it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's something to do with a 3-year-old. If you've got a 3-year-old that's like a fucking wild child, and it was like, create like a calm corner for them, and they'll sit in the calm corner and that. And she said all the comments underneath it on whatever platform it was on were like, fuck off. Like, my 3-year-old. And we were saying, imagine ours, like Bobby, who's 3. Like, imagine doing that with him. He'd be like, the calm corner would turn into fucking chaos corner within about 3 seconds. Like, It's just not practical. And the theory behind it might be good, but it's like, okay, but make it work for people in their real life. Do you know what it's in the realms of, Joe, when we were having a rant about the Tory fucking MPs the other week, like, arrest your own fucking criminals and put fucking foil on your radiators, all that stuff. Like, fuck off. Have you actually ever dealt with this yourself? Have you ever set a reminder in your fucking calendar and then gone to your wife, excuse me, love, my alarm's just gone, it's time to have sex?
Yeah.
Like, imagine that. Imagine that in real life. In
the
what fucking world
the
does
romance
that work?
of that, like, do you know what I mean? It just feels like, like they're like a robot just having a shag because your phone said.
It says it in me fucking diary. And hang on, and we've got to be finished. Hang on, I've only got a 5-minute slot because I've got to get my reading done as well. You're like, come on.
5-minute slot.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to go too long and look like I was making shit up. There'll be people listening to this going, 5 minutes, fucking hell, we need that long.
I know, yeah. It was funny you mentioning kids there, because I had my lad last night, or last evening anyway. Went for tea with him, and it's just, there's my other 2 kids are like teenagers, like, and he's that young, like, obviously, and like I'd sort of forgotten about like the sort of, the power of a toddler, like, and like, they're just like a force of nature, aren't they? And it's dead funny, like he's just like, so picked him up from nursery, we went to McDonald's, and then like I just thought, well, I'm his dad, and I'm just going to treat him. Like, I'm not going to be setting a big rule about this. Whatever he wants, he can just have it, because I want him, I want him to be like my dad's boss. So. So he picked, like, he said he wanted chicken nuggets, said he wanted fries, and he said he wanted the McFlurry. And then I obviously got myself something, like, and then he starts with the McFlurry, like, and I'm just like, I just thought, I'm not going to do that, because if I start turning that into a rule about what he's literally got in front of him, he'll kick off. So if that's what he wants to do, so he was eating like some of the McFlurry, then go having a chicken McNugget, dipping it into his tomato sauce, then going back to it. But what was that funny was, like, he finished the ice cream before anything else, and then it's just like that, like, more ice cream, And I'm like, there isn't any more, mate. You know what I mean? And he's like, more ice cream. And I'm
Yeah.
like, there isn't any more, mate. And then like he got up off his seat, went to the counter himself, and asked for more ice cream, and,
Great
and
work.
then was and then was telling people who were sitting near the counter, I want more ice cream. I like ice cream and all that. And I was just laughing my head off. I just thought it's hilarious, isn't it? Like what the little cat, like he flipped in man the other week, and it was so funny. Like he proper like clenched his two fists and went like that. It's like, wow, the energy there, like, do you know what I mean? Unbelievable.
Oh,
And
mate, go on, finish what you
no,
say.
the other one was like he's not I mean, he is, but like he's not great when he first wakes up. You know, like he's a narc you wake him up or he first wakes up. And I had a message off his ma that said he'd woke up and like his hair was everywhere and all this. And she just said to him, like, you know, you look wild. And he went, I'm not wild, I'm Oliver. And I want honey on toast. I just
Brilliant.
love it. It's absolutely brilliant, isn't
Mate,
it?
it ties into well, it's funny because there's a nice segue into something else we want to talk about. But just on this point, I a couple of courses I did last year, and I heard the same thing in two different places, and I was like, "Fucking hell, it's right." You know, my theory on narcissism, like we use it to criticize other people, but the reality is we're all narcissists. And this fella on the course said, any of you have got kids, you've got pure little narcissists running around your house." And as soon
Yeah.
as he said it, and I started doing it, I was like, "Oh yeah." Like if I've got this idea, like of doing a YouTube channel, or like a TikTok channel, where you just go round your world and film it, but act like a child, like act in the exact same way as a child, and see how people react to it. Because when you look at it, like a toddler's behavior, or like we've got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. When you look at their behavior, we laugh so often because you're like, all right, fucking little narcissist. It's like, just imagine a grown-up behaving the way they behave. I want it now. Like our 5-year-old sat there the other day, and he literally just sat on the floor, and he wanted the remote control. So he just started going like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he just started going like, get me the remote control, 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 get me. like, I went, like proper like old school parents. I went, who do you think you're talking to? And he just looked at me and went, get me the remote control, get me the remote control. And I was like, me and Siobhan just laughed because like, fucking narcissist here. Like, imagine if we did that to each other. And I'm then Joe calmly talking to him, going, well, we're not your slaves, mate. So if you'd like us to do something, can you ask nicely? Or we've had this conversation, we're not going to do it because we don't talk to you like that, do we? But when you look at kids' behavior, that's what it is all the time, isn't it? I want what I want right now, and you'd best give it to me, or I'm going to scream. You're like, all right, fucking.
Oh yeah, every step is that almost, isn't it? You know, like last night he was like, I want to go to your house. And I'm like, well, we're going to McDonald's. No, your house. And you're like, and like in the end, what I do now is I don't have the argument. I just go, all right, yeah, and then we don't go to my house. And then like, you know, he's forgot it.
He's forgotten. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love that.
He's not arse really. He won't, but it's like they won an argument though, isn't it?
Yeah, but think about it when we talk about this.
Put this song on now. Put the Batman song on. Put Crazy Frog on, and you're like, I'm not listening to that shit again. You can do one.
Yeah, but think about what we've talked about dealing with narcissists as a grown-up. The same applies to kids. Whenever I find myself like, every now and then I'll find myself getting drawn in, and it's like Twitter when we talk about it. You find yourself getting drawn in, and all of a sudden my brain will go to me, you're arguing with a 3-year-old, and I go, yeah, stop that. And we've developed over time, like with the 3-year-old who's a fucking pure lunatic, like your lad, like they tend to be. Instead of telling him no to stuff, we just change the subject.
Yeah,
distract him, do something else. Yeah. And then it was like a magic trick, because he goes, sound, we're on to something else now. But the segue, which was nice, which I loved you went into, because I was going to talk about that anyway, was that's the other side of like, think about it until we start getting programmed about what's right and wrong to eat. Like your lad's sitting there and he's got no concept that you shouldn't eat ice cream in amongst chicken and chips. Whereas if I started doing that in front of it, you'd be like, mate, what are you doing, you fucking lunatic? Or we were the eldest, who's 5, fascinates me when it comes to food. Because he is like, I was literally going to ask you that, and then you started saying it. We were in McDonald's the other week, and he was dipping his chicken nuggets into a chocolate milkshake, and then eating. And he's doing that thing that kids do, which again I love. Do you like the way they eat an ice cream or a chocolate bar, and it's all over them? I said I'm going to start eating my food like that because it looks so much more enjoyable. And I'm just sitting watching him with a big smile on my face. And again, same as you. And this is the complete opposite of what my dad was like with us. But I'm just like, he's fucking enjoying it. He's 5. There's no big deal here. And I just went to him, are you enjoying that, mate? And he looked at me with this face of like, it is the greatest thing I've ever had in my life. Chicken nuggets dipped in a chocolate milkshake. And my brain's going, those flavors do not go together.
But it's funny though, isn't it? Because, you know, like you sort of expect that if you're like from a toddler. But I've heard loads of mad things that, you know, grown people do. I think we've touched on it before, haven't we? About, you know, mad stuff we've had ourselves. Like it just came to my mind. Then there was a lad I used to work with that he'd get like a big takeaway, get an Indian or whatever, and get all the starters. And he said like because like he'd order a load in, and he wouldn't finish it. And he said, I almost got into a bit of a routine that I saved some of the curry. And I went, well, what were you doing with it, like? And he go, well, this is the genius bit, like. Said, I'd get up in the morning and I'd have the curry from the night before for me breakfast, curry on toast. And I'm like, mate, that sounds fucking bizarre. And he's like, it's boss. You know, you just spread it on, heat it under the grill, like, beautiful. And I'm like, okay, mate, yeah, sound. But, you know, like...
Did you ever try it, though?
No. Well, I've done... I was going to say, like, I do the cold pizza thing sometimes, you know, where there's, like, a couple of slices left from the night before, and you're just like, bollocks. I mean, it feels wrong, but it's all right. But there's loads of mad... You know, I mentioned on here before, didn't I? Chips on toast and mad things like that. Because I remember just thinking, I haven't had that, so I'm going to do it. Maybe I should do the curry thing. But yeah, there was no telling him there yesterday. If I'd have gone, no, mate, we eat that last, and you have this for, you know, just booted off and being like, what are you on about?
But that's the point, isn't it? Why have we created these rules? I remember having this chat with my niece and nephew ages ago, like about breakfast. Like, I was like, well, you know, in different parts of the world, they eat curry for breakfast, and they were like, eee. Yeah. And I was like, no, I went, you only think it's E because you haven't been raised with it.
You've been programmed, yeah.
You think that eating like sugary cereal with milk for breakfast is normal, but that's actually more weird. Like for your body, eating a sugary thing for breakfast. If I said, do you want ice cream for your breakfast? You'd say no, but you'll have sugary cereal, which is mad. Like, it's full of shit. But we've been programmed that that's what you're meant to eat for breakfast, so that's all right. And it is mad that all that, isn't it? But and
have you heard about I think I'm really conscious that I'm just saying. I feel like I'm saying loads of stuff we've said on other shows. Yeah, sorry if so. But did we ever do about Lewandowski about this?
I don't think so. What?
Because there's a story, like, you know, it's not blag or anything. It's there. I just checked it. He eats his dessert first. You know, that's how he has his meals.
But isn't there something in that? I'm sure there was someone on Bartlett's podcast saying like they change the order of that you eat your food and it changes your metabolism or something.
It's because carbohydrates are digested quicker than protein. So eating the dessert first, which is high in carbohydrates, is meant to help the digestive system. And he also reckons it's helping him burn fat easier and giving him more energy. So who are we to argue?
Yeah,
exactly. Who are we? Us mere mortals to argue with him, like. But yeah.
Well, maybe our kids are onto something then, because I was just going to say Alfie, our eldest, like, his other combination last week was pizza dipped in ketchup and then dipped in KFC gravy.
Sounds all right.
What are you thinking of that? I was just pausing then just to see your reaction, because I was watching it going, and then Siobhan went to me afterwards, but that might be all right because pizza's already got sauce on it. why wouldn't gravy make it nice? And I was like, well, maybe we just need to fucking try it. But it is, I was thinking before, it is a throwback to our early episodes, isn't it? When we were talking about like mad stuff in cans and stuff like that. But that's what, again, that's what led me to think about this as a segue. I put it on an agenda for last week. I have mad eating habits, like not necessarily like the food, but the way I eat it. And again, something Joanna, you've got someone new in your life who sees it, because to you it's just normal. I was eating a butty, and she phoned sitting next to me. She went, "How have I only just got onto how weird you eat your butties?" I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And she went,
"Yeah, you do that little. I've got onto it. Like you hold a little tiny bit of it and like nibble it, don't you?"
So I eat. So this is, and it's because in my brain since I was a kid, I want to eat the last thing I eat. I want it to be the nicest bit. So if I'm eating a sandwich, I eat the two corners first because that's got the most crust. So then I've like, picture your sandwich with like, if it's cut in half, you've then got half a sandwich with two mouth bites out the side. Then I eat the back crust because that's, and she's going to, I was talking her through and she went, "Oh, it does make sense. The back crust is heavier than the side crust. So you eat the back crust, then you eat the side crust, and it leaves you with like the middle of the sandwich, which is full of the filling, the best bit of the filling, but no edge, no crust. So the last bit of your sandwich is fucking gorgeous, but it goes everywhere, especially if you're having like an egg butty. If you have like sausage and egg, I do look like a child. I look like a child because I've got it all over my hands and then lick it off my hands. And she was like, "Yeah, that's a mad way for a grown man to eat a sandwich." But it just made me think, yeah. But do you have any of them? Because I have, since I was a kid. Like, there's a photo of me when I was about 2, covered in chocolate. Because even from that age, I've eaten like Kit Kats. I nibble the top off, then nibble the ends off, then nibble the sides off, and then finish just with like a bit of the wafer in the middle.
I'll say it for everyone listening and watching. He's a fucking psychopath. And what's going on here?
It is. It's a psychopathic way to eat food, isn't it?
Have you ever like reached that? Have you overthought it that much that
it's not overthinking it though? I just love it. It's like, it's inside me. It's natural. I don't know where it came from.
The only thing that anyone's ever commented on the way I eat is that I eat fast, which I think's fair. But just it's food and it's there to be at. I don't know what I'm waiting for. Like, do you know what I mean?
I always have a theory. This comes from my grandma, because my grandma would always eat fast. Like, she'd like inhale her food, and Alfie does it. And I've got a theory. It's tied to genetic trauma from war. Because like, if you were raised during a war, which my grandma lived through a war, she'd be like, you fucking eat your food as quick as you can, so no other fucker eats it, because you don't know when you're gonna get food again. And I'm like, yeah, it's war trauma. That. Got no way of proving that. Just sounds good.
I don't know why I'm doing this. This is just another mad part of my head. But I had to go and just look while you were talking how Lewandowski's getting on.
How he's getting on?
Yeah. So he's 35 now. And last season he scored 23 in La Liga. So yeah, he's 23 and 34 in La Liga. And this season he's got 5 and 9. So
he's doing all right. They won the league last year, didn't they?
It's got a 6-pack as well. So whatever he's doing it all right.
I love the way you've looked that up to prove like he does know what he's talking about, as opposed to me and you, fat bastards, like with like our bellies and our like lethargy and bad sleeping habits. And you're like, yeah, I pretty much trust he's got it. He knows more what he's talking about.
He's doing it all right. Yeah, he must be doing something right.
It's funny that you found that clip, didn't you? That you shared that clip with me of us interviewing James Milner from like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah,
and talking to him, and him laughing his head off when you said about us saying like, for anyone who'd never seen that interview, it was funny, like, because we asked him about like whether he ever treats himself, and he said something like, yeah, don't get me wrong, like I'll have a cookie, but it was the way he said it, and we just got onto it straight away. He was like, yeah, mate, you will have a cookie, one cookie,
we'll smash a packet.
We'll eat the whole packet. And we're not running around as much as you. Would you remember that day? What popped into my head? We were sitting. It was me, you, Andy Heaton, and a couple of others from the rap, and we were sitting in a waiting room, like in a meeting room in the the Marriott Hotel in Queen Square in town, waiting for our turn to interview Milner because he was launching a book. And we're sitting in a room, and as we're sitting there was like a little like side table with like one of them heat lamps. And as we're sitting there, some fella brought in a big bowl of chips and put them on the side. And I just sat there and watched as each one of us, one at a time, went up and helped ourselves to some chips. And it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. Everyone had had their breakfast. If you'd have said to everyone at that point, "Are you hungry?" we'd have all said no. Because some fella brought in a bowl of chips, we all just ate the chips. And then 20 minutes later, we're interviewing like this unbelievable physical specimen. And I'm laughing to myself thinking, but this is the difference. If someone brings in a bowl of chips, Milner doesn't just start eating the chips, does he? Like us.
No, he goes, today I have consumed X number of calories.
Exactly.
The best way to fuel my body is this. The best thing for my sleep is this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I mean, we're just animals, aren't we? I mean, the only other, he won't mind me mentioning it. For those who've migrated or added us to the Anfield Wrap, they'll know that I've ripped them about this on a show before. So one of the maddest things I've ever seen in terms of eating methods, aside from yours, like, is Craig at the Anfield Wrap gets a bag of crisps while it like smashes it up with his fist, like on the table, and then just pours the crumbs into his mouth.
No,
that's how he eats a bag of crisps.
That's how he eats crisps all the time.
Yeah.
Why?
Fucking weird, isn't it? Don't know. He likes it.
I've never heard
you fucking wronged.
I've never heard anyone do that. See, I know other people who eat Kit Kats like me, and I was even thinking last night I was eating Maltesers. Do you not nibble the chocolate off Maltesers?
No, just eat it.
No, see, I bet you. So I want anyone who's listening or watching this, if you have any of these weird things, support me. Tell us, like, comments.
See, this is mad as well, isn't it? Because I said to you when we were doing the crunching challenge that you were a finger licking knick-knack nonce, and said that they are not appropriate crisps to eat in a public place because you'd end up with all this shit all over your fingers. And you were like, "Yeah, just lick it off my fingers." And I'm like, "So you're sitting on a train eating knick-knack, and I'm just fucking like something fucking wrong, man."
But isn't it funny that, like, this is what I love about life? Like, we've all got our own things that we think are acceptable. When you tell me Craig's one, my system goes, "Oh, that's a bit wrong, isn't it?"
Oh, I know, yeah.
But then there is another part of my brain actually going, I can see why he does it though, because I like the end. Probably.
Yeah, just seems a waste. He meant to be like, I mean, like I've said, like I like eating fast, but like, I still want to like savor each crisp. I don't just want a load of crumbs going into my mouth. It just.
So does it increase the speed at which he eats a bag of crisps?
Well, yeah, because he's just smashed them, hasn't he? And he just, it's virtually like it's like knocking back a bag of crisps, isn't it?
No, like down
you know what
crisps.
I mean? Like, yeah, down on a bag of crisps.
I've never known anyone do that. I've
never understood the down on a pint thing either. I mean, apart from the, "Ooh, look at me, I can drink loads" bollocks. Like, it's like, again, that to me should be something that's like savoured to an extent. That's why I think I'm into the ale that I'm into. I don't like lager. I like IPAs and all that. And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." You know what I mean? And have a little, savour the taste a little bit, like, not just be like, "Yes, fuck it out."
Yeah.
It's because of our culture there, obviously.
Yeah, I love that. But then it's your son who's eating ice cream with his chicken, so he's got that from somewhere, hasn't he? That's genetic.
Look. I mean, people might be into that. I'm almost certain that if we say to people, "Just throw in your mad one," there will be people say, "Oh, I've got this or that." You know what I mean? I think everyone's tried a little mad thing, and it's sort of come off, and you've gone, "It's all right, that." Do you know what I mean? So let us know what your "it's all right, that" moment is.
Yeah, your finger licking knick-knack nonce equivalent.
Yeah, let us know what you see people doing in public with food as well, where you think, "Fucking hell, what?"
Yeah. Well, think that'll probably do us, unless we have any other business.
Don't think so. I'd still really like, I've become obsessive about how many people have clicked like on our YouTube channel, or like, subscribe to it. Sorry, and all you've got to do is click the little thing, haven't you? I even shared a link on Twitter yesterday because I was looking it up, and you can create a link that when people click on the link, it comes up. Do you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel?
Mm-hmm.
So I created that link and shared it, thinking that'll do it. That'll get us over the line, because I just want to see it say 5,000.
Yeah.
And
Are you gonna turn into Bartlett? Have you seen Bartlett's one where he does this big like analysis, where he like does this very like heartfelt thing to the camera before a show, and he's like, "So,
oh yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's 7.4 million people watch this channel, but only 43% of you have subscribed. It would really mean a lot to me if." I love the way we all do that. It would mean a lot to us. Like, fuck off.
I just want to see it say 5,000.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that's too much to ask, is it? 5,000 is hardly like,
because I'm trying to quickly look what it's on, which I do about 50 times a day. Someone knocking at my door. Doing a podcast, love. Fuck off. There is someone at my door. How dare they knock at my door? Like, no one knocks at my door.
I love it when you have to say that to someone. Like,
oh, I know what
I'm doing a podcast. Like, all right, no bad.
I know what I was going to update you. Oh yeah, so we've currently got 4,963. So at the time of recording, just 37 people need to go over, click subscribe on the Late Challenge podcast YouTube.
We've had this conversation before. You need more than 37, because what happens is you get your 5,000 and you're celebrating. YouTube sends you an email saying you've got 5,000, and then 2 people unsubscribe.
Yeah,
and you go,
just got another one. I was looking at it.
That's spooky, isn't it? That's
4,964.
This hasn't even gone out. Someone's subscribing while you've just put the message to the universe.
Yeah, the vibes have gone out there. I'll tell you an update. On the Monday show, or what we recorded on a Monday, don't mean it's Wednesday when it comes out. Like, but on the free show, I should have said, this week we were talking about Halloween, weren't we? And I said about I'd had a bit of a plan to sort of you fucked off, yeah. I said I'd had a bit of a plan to, do proper Grinch, like fucking sit upstairs with the lights off or whatever. But then, after we chatted it through, I sort of like corrected myself and thought, no, come on, lad, fucking hell. So I went and bought like about nearly 30 quid's worth of gear, like, to have stuff in, basically, for the trick or treat. And then I looked out and like I could see some of them moving around the streets and all that, and I thought, oh yeah, well, we're definitely in then. So I made like little bags, like with like sweet lollipop, or had them all lined up in the hall. Fucking no one knocked.
No one knocked. I thought you were going to say then. Did you put anything outside your house to make it look like yours was a welcoming Halloween house?
No, just a normal house.
Yeah, you need that, because I think people are lazier these days, so they only want to knock on the houses that they think will answer. But so I've got a little update for you on that, actually, and I know how you'll react to this, but we'll see. So I ended up being out. I was in my mum's, and it took me longer than I thought to round off the theme. So by the time I got home, I'd missed all the trick or treaters, and when I got back, the house was dark. And we had put stuff outside, like Halloween signs and cobwebs and all that, because we were like, oh, it'd be nice for people to knock. And Siobhan had bought a big bucket of sweets and all that. And I got in, and she'd messaged me saying she really wasn't well. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a bug going around their family, and she'd turned the lights off and gone to bed, basically. And then when I came in and said to her, what happened? She went, I answered it to the first couple, but I was just like proper sick. So I was like, I can't keep doing this. So she put the bucket of sweets outside and left the light on, with the intention that there was loads of kids on our, like, where we live, our estate, walking around. As I drove in, there was still like, just take a handful of sweets type thing. Do you know what I mean? That the very first, she said, like 10 minutes after she put it out, someone rang the doorbell, and she went out, and it was like 3 little like sweet kids, and the bucket had gone. So the first people who come had taken the entire bucket of sweets.
Fucking scrubs.
Yeah, isn't that fucking
Fucking
horrible? Little
Tories.
cunts. Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah,
I was
now they've
straight
boxed
away.
themselves
Honestly,
up.
that thing just came up in me like, I want to fucking find them, the cheeky little bastards.
That's grim, that isn't it? That's not
Mad
the
that, isn't
spirit.
it? Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
now. No, well, I got a knock as well, and I thought, hey, yeah, sound.
Yeah.
Like, got my little bags made up. Here we go. Go to the door, open it up. Some fella there, and I was like, what the fuck? And like, it was funny because he wasn't from round these parts. He was quite posh. Not even a hint of a Scouse accent. Never mind a strong one. And it's like, hi, don't worry, it's not trick or treat. And then like he was God knows why on Halloween, and God knows why at that time of night. But he was trying to get you to sign up for like to make regular donations to like cancer research. Um,
Fucking madness.
and
That.
I know,
Not
and
madness trying to get people to sign up to like donate to cancer research before anyone kicks off. Like
no, the timing
the timing and like
at
to think
night
about knocking
on
on people's
Halloween.
doors. Well, at night anyway, knocking on people's doors when it's dark at night is not a fucking good idea. They're not going to come to the door in a generous mood, are they? They're going to come to the door going, "Who the fuck is this
What?
knocking at my door at night?"
Yeah,
To do it on
and it was.
Halloween, so you've got to go. It's not trick or treat. Fucking hell.
I
Someone
know.
needs to
Well,
weird, isn't it?
it was weird. So I think it's fair to say that someone or everyone has got a ready-made supply of fireworks in Kirkdale because like
Fucking hell.
for,
It's like
for
Beirut,
weeks,
isn't it?
yeah, for weeks it's been wild. Like, and it was just, and I'm just used to it. It doesn't even bother me. Like, they go off in like the back alley and all kinds, and like it's fucking loud. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm acclimatized. I'm not arsed. It doesn't even. I just carry on making me cup of tea or whatever I'm doing. You know what I mean? I don't flinch. So it made me laugh because there's some heavy ones that go off like. And he stood at the door giving me this spiel, and this one went up in the sky like right by us, and it was like boom, and he was like fucking hell, and I was like, I said, oh, yeah, that's standard, mate. Like, do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be walking
and
around these streets tonight, mate.
but it was funny as well because like he gave the big spiel, and like I had no reason to be arsy with him, and I wasn't. But we went through it like, and he said he threw in a line about like the government wasn't funding the research to the levels it should be and all that, and that was why it was important that they were getting donations and all this kind of stuff. And he said he said I'm getting a general vibe about views of the current government, especially around here. And I said, I bet you are, mate.
Yeah.
And he said, and he went, what's your thoughts? I said, yeah, they're not for me. You know what I mean? I've never voted for them in my life, and I never will. I said, they fundamentally go against what I think I stand for. And he went, well, that's the politest response I've had.
I was just thought to say, I'm surprised you were that polite.
So that made me laugh because I was just then envisaging all the, like some fella in his vest open.
All the other answers he said. Yeah. But that fella's is he fucking a sadist or something? Like what? Why is he knocking on people's doors on Halloween? Maybe that's his kick for Halloween. Knocking on people's doors in fucking inner suburbs of Liverpool, asking them what they think of the Tory government.
On Halloween,
what the fuck?
8:30 or whatever it was. He had the full. I guess I'm just thinking, like I always think, what are people thinking as they're listening to this chat? He had the full gear, you know what I mean. He wasn't, and he had the ID, and he had the clipboard, and he had the coat, and all that. So if it was Blag 1, what 4, and 2, well, he's gone to a big effort. So he was legit, like. But yeah, it just
Did you give him a bag of sweets anyway?
I felt like doing that,
You should have done.
I was thinking, like,
should have said,
yeah,
look, mate, you might as well have one of these.
Don't want to sign up to anything at the minute, to be honest, mate. Because I haven't really got any income, but it's sweet. Yeah, so I've given them all to the little fella's mum now.
We haven't got
he's
time.
Supplied for months.
We haven't got time to get into this, but this is maybe a topic for another show. I realized years ago that charity is basically a tax on generous people, because we're asking generous people, and think about the area in which he's knocking and asking those people to give money.
I know.
You're like, mate, you're asking the people who've got the least to give money for this, and you're acknowledging yourself that a Tory government isn't giving enough money. Like, This is backwards. Our country is upside down, and the mad thing is, the people with the least money tend to be the most generous. So they're getting. We're getting this stealth
he sort
tax.
of said that.
It's fucking mad.
He didn't say those words, but there was like a vibe of that, because he said, "Oh, just knocked that one of your neighbours there, and she donates." He said 25 quid, which is like, a month. She donates 25 quid a month to a donkey sanctuary, he said. And he said, like, nothing against her, but, like, this is more of like a game changer, like, you know what I mean? It's cancer research is really important. There's been some breakthroughs where it needs more money to carry on, type of thing. I said, yeah, I get it, like, and I said, it's awful. And I said, I know, but like, I felt that the whole idea of it is it makes you feel bad, isn't it? Like why can't I sign up to do this? Yeah. But I just said to him, listen, mate, like, good, more power to your elbow and all that, but just not for me right now. And he was like, no worries, and off he went. But yeah, I didn't give him one of my little bags. I had to re-empty. I had to empty all my bags, and it was a bit of a heartbreak. And I was like, went to this effort and no one knocked.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna do that tune. You want to wait? That we should get us. I mean, I'm obsessed with the Have a Word podcast. I've noticed the other day they've got a sound machine.
Oh, I want a sound machine.
Got one. You want one, don't you? But it's boss. Yeah. Like we could get all those old school tunes on. That'd be a good way to just wrap up a show, wouldn't it?
Robbo made a big effort on the 31st of October.
Well, that reminds me, actually, there's a little, like, just to wrap it up, there is a little mad ending to that movie if you go and watch it. So if you go and watch it, tell me and we can talk about it then. He does this mad, like, old school ending to it, and he ends it. He's in it. Scorsese.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I forgot to say to Siobhan, do you know who that is? Because I know, like, there was. Did you watch the Avengers movies? I'm doing nothing now when I'm saying we need to. This is why everything takes me longer than I think. Because I go, we should stop this and then talk for another 10 minutes. But in the Avengers movies or the Marvel movies, Stan Lee?
I've seen some of them.
Do you know Stan Lee makes a cameo in each one?
Does he? Yeah.
And it's boss, like, it's a boss little cameo. Like, it always makes you laugh. But every time he pops up, I have the same thought, which is loads of people probably don't know who that is. So there'll be loads of people like, why does that little Al fella just come up in every Marvel movie?
I didn't know that. No, I've seen a few of them because both me lads like them. So young and old. So I've watched some of the Spider-Man ones, and I watched Iron Man the other day with Ollie, because he's absolutely obsessed with Iron Man. Like, you can't leave the house without Iron Man.
Great taste.
Yeah.
So well, next time you watch it, watch out for Stan Lee's little cameo. Yeah. He always has a little funny cameo.
Well, if you watch Oppenheimer, did you used to watch Bread, as in, like, the Liverpool-based sitcom?
Yeah, Joey with his phone, the original mobile phone.
All of that, leather kecks, and the chicken that they keep the money in.
Yeah.
We had one of them. What was we going to? Oh yeah, if you watch Oppenheimer, and when you see Einstein, Freddie Boswell.
Boswell. I thought you were going to say it actually was him. Do you have the same actor?
No, it's just funny.
It just looks like Freddie Boswell.
I sat in the cinema, sat back watching it, and he come out, and obviously it's meant to be Einstein, but like I just found it amusing because, like, the Barnet and everything, like, and then you've got to take it. You've got to take it seriously.
You're like, why is Freddie Boswell in it? Yeah. What's Freddie Boswell got to do with nuclear weapons?
How come they're in the dingle? Yeah.
Anyway, there's a fucking niche reference for our international listeners. If you don't know what that is, maybe we should do what we did with Brookside one day and watch an episode of Bread. Look up if you don't know what we're talking about, go and look up Bread, this TV sitcom, and tell us what you think. But we'll have to leave it there because we're eating into my time now.
Yeah,
got things to do and people to see. Right, nice one. As always, thank you for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend.